What are the fair use factors and how do you apply them? Let's start with the statute. So, fair use means that what otherwise would have been infringement of a copyright under 106 or 106A moral rights is not an infringement, as it says here, not an infringement. But these things in blue are not per se categories that always work, unlike the laws of some other countries. So in the US, in evaluating whether something is a fair use, it says here factors need to be considered. All of these 4 factors. So let's talk about what these factors mean. Okay, so 4 factors. The first one is the purpose and character of the defendant's use. The second is the nature of the original plaintiff's copyrighted work. The third is the amount and substantiality taken, how much quantity-wise and qualitatively, how important was it to the original. And the last is the market effect, which includes both actually supplanting the market for the original, i.e. replacing it, or also potential markets that the copyright owner would be entitled to naturally use, although not hypothetical markets that are not likely to be developed. So let's talk about each of these, starting with purpose and character of the defendant's use. Now, in evaluating this, one of the factors is whether the use by the defendant is commercial or non-commercial. So if something is commercial, arguably it's less likely to be fair use, but this is not dispositive. And we can consider something commercial even if arguably it's done by a nonprofit in that the user is going to, quote, profit from not paying the usual price. So for example, if you tried to copy the entirety of a casebook as a student, you are not a commercial user, but you could sort of say it's a commercial purpose. But there's also other issues. One is whether the purpose and character of the use is transformative. So the butterfly here is to remind you that the butterfly is a major transformation from a caterpillar. So the more transformative a work is, the more likely it is to be fair use, even if the use is commercial. So the other kind of way something could be transformative is a transformative use. So I think I had said this backwards actually. So the butterfly is to indicate a transformative work, like a work of art that transforms the original. It's totally different, or at least puts a new spin. Whereas a transformative use, you haven't created a new creative product, but maybe you put it to a new use, such as a way to search books, but you haven't created a new book. Now, the nature of the copyrighted work is talking about whether it's highly creative and thus less likely to be fair use, or mostly factual, and then it's more likely to be fair use. But there's also an issue of first publication. So if the defendant is scooping up the original owner's ability to first publish, that is not likely to be fair use. In general, the more creative, the less likely fair use, unless the work is transformative, which gives more right to fair use because it's the kind of expression we want to promote. Now, amount and substantiality we talked about at the beginning, how much percentage-wise, just the number, and also is it the core? Because if it's the core, like the heart of the work that you really remember, then maybe it's not fair. And again, in evaluating this, you're not just looking at these in isolation. You are allowed actually as a defendant to take more if the work or use is transformative. And market effect, we already talked about. Does the defendant's work supplant the plaintiff's actual or potential market, including a market for derivative works. Now, one thing hopefully you're seeing is that we've mentioned transformative work or use for a number of these factors. But as a review, transformative work, the butterfly symbol, or transformative use, same work, new use, which factors is it important to? Is it just one? Is it all of them? Here's a color-coded reminder. The first three factors all consider whether the work is transformative. And if it is the transformative work or transformative use, that will tend to favor fair use. So, Two Live Crew doing a new version, a rap version that's a parody of the original Roy Orbison song, is a transformative work. Now, the fact that it's a parody is one type of transformative work. The court never said parodies are per se fair. Rather, they just said parodies are a kind of transformative work. Importantly, for transformative work or use, you could take 100%. How could that be? Well, an example would be the Google Books search, where they literally scanned 100% of the books. So 100% was taken, but because it was a transformative use and it provided a very important and different use for society, the ability to search all of these books online, that is considered a fair use. Even though there was no case, all these factors support that as fair use. So it's a transformative use, so we allow 100%. And that also is something that is a defendant's purpose and character that favors transformative use. So hopefully that helps provide an example of how you apply these factors.